So thank you, Nathan, for the introduction. I'm very, very excited to be here. And yes, it's a very hot trend. And I actually came from Vegas last week where, that was one of the topic in a conference that was focused on call centers, actually. But in a way, everywhere you will go in the country today, and you will be in a conference, you will hear about gamification. So just before I'll start, if you can raise your hand if you ever heard the term gamification before. Perfect. Anyone here actually in the company using gamification today? Okay, one hand over there, okay. And actually, yes, we are working with your company, which is Microsoft as well, and that's on gamification. But you will be surprised, you're actually probably using more gamification than you're thinking, and we will talk about that through the presentation. I would like to keep this interactive, okay? So please stop me at any time, ask me questions. I'm living, breathing gamification all day long and can discuss about that for 5-minute speech elevator or 3 hours. So up to you how much we will do that today. So we will start kind of with the question, if I will be able to. I am. Kind of talking about games. And gamification is different from games, but obviously there is a connection. So I want to start with why games. And the answer is that games are really powerful tool. More than powerful tool, they are embedded in us, in our instincts. Some people say in our culture, I would say it's cross-culture. No matter where you'll go in the world, no matter what you will see, including our pets. I mean, I have a golden retriever. He will play with me all day long as well. I'm willing to throw the ball to him. He will bring it back. This is really an instinct, and it's a powerful instinct. And we have people engaged in gaming in the levels that you cannot even imagine in other areas, right? I mean, you would wish that your reaction from your client will be this one. They will be excited. They will be surprised. They will have emotion. They will be part of what you're actually sending them. And that's what we are able to achieve with games. Now, there is a lot of research. I was surprised when I started how many research in university and other institutes are around games. Why people play games? What drives them to do that? Why people are sitting in their home playing video games and talking with nobody else? Why people are outside playing games? There is not even one person that will not be enjoying a game. I'm not saying we're all enjoying the same one, but we all enjoying games, and we are enjoying because we have something that we achieve from it that go really to psychology's needs. And I'm not going to talk to you a lot about that because you actually can go and read. If you just do Google why people play games, you will find so many research that you will be surprised. But there are some commonality in everything in that. So first, people like the feel of progression. They are accomplishing something in a very short period of time in most cases. Sometimes it's over days, but they are moving forward. People would like to move forward. People would like to master their skills. People would like to feel that they have control on whatever they are doing. You know, in a game, you have a control. You see, you act. There is a very clear call to action, and that gives us a sense of control. We also have a possibility for success. This is easy to see in a game. And not everyone needs to play in the NBA, but everyone can enjoy, basketball game in their league. And that's what gives people the sense of success. And the last and very important one, and I think as everyone in the marketing world will know, recognition, right? We would like to recognize, to be recognized. We would like to feel that there is an impact of what we have done. And you may ask, what impact you have in a game? We only play game. But think about that. How proud we are when our team is winning. How happy we are when we are able to win a game. And it can be as silly as, nothing. But people are excited. And that's what we get when we are playing games. Any questions so far? Any comment? Somebody will disagree with me? Challenge you to a game here. Okay, so there is a question, what I'm here to talk about, and why we are actually going to talk about it now. So, what gamification is all about? gamification is actually taking the game thinking, the game techniques, the game element, whatever got us to enjoy games and be engaged in a game, and bringing into a non-gaming environment, okay? Non-game environment can be our workplace. Non-game environment can be our consumers. Non-game environment can be anything that you take it out of the concept of a game and everyone thinks, of course, this is a game. When you're going, and I spoke with Barbara, who was sitting with me on the table, and we talked about universities, and we talked about people who are applying to college. My son is now applying to college, very close to my heart. He's applying to college. He is stressed. He is like, this is tiring. I don't want to do that. Make it into a game. You're winning. You just put your profile picture. Phenomenal. Good job. Now let's move on. Already 30% completion. Great. You send it to this university, and now you're invested. And now you have a connection. And that's what we are trying to do with gamification. Now, there are many examples in gamification. And I would start with kind of the obvious one, even though it's not really the most useful way of gamification, and this is kind of the loyalty programs. There are plenty of loyalty programs out there for a long, long time. And what they're doing is, in a way, getting you to play a game with them. Be part of their game. So that's in the consumer space. Everyone here, I believe, will have a LinkedIn profile, right? Everyone's familiar with that. LinkedIn is actually a very good example, even though it doesn't look like a game, they are using game techniques. I'm getting all the time those emails. See who saw you. You have been watched, Hadas. Great. You know, Hadas, you are 34% in actually completing your profile, because I'm never putting my picture out there, and it's really upset LinkedIn. They're constantly reminding me that. And they give me those, kind of reminders about the next best action to take. Hey, this one has a work anniversary. Why won't you send congratulations? LinkedIn is a very good example of using game thinking, game techniques in their for their consumer. There are others. There are from languages, there are, to learning plays the piano. They are all using, some bringing the game elements, the fun elements up there most clearly to people. LinkedIn doesn't put it as clearly to that, but LinkedIn compare us all the time and tell us as a benchmark how we are doing in this game of LinkedIn profile. Some other will be that, putting the scoreboard out there in a more evident way and give it the look and feel of a game much more than others. So there was a question that coming all the time to me, and there are people like, what are you talking about gamification? We all play game in the workforce for a long time. Each and one of us, and I'm sure each and one of you as well, had the opportunity to do that in the workplace in a different scales. So there is the real question, why we're now talking about gamification? When it's become such a big buzz, why we are talking? So first of all, I'll tell you why we are there, because there is a market, okay? It's a good place to be right now. It's really, really a good field. But it's really much more than that. It's about the fact that we now, first and foremost, have the platform and the technology that allow it to take it from, an opportunity here and there into something much bigger. A platform that allow us to take it and build something consistent that can deliver results and can make things that before were not actionable into an action. But also there is a need. And if we look in terms of organization internally, the numbers are quite shocking. I mean, only 31% of the employees are engaged at work. What about the 70% that are not engaged at that moment? Now, most of you are dealing with, I saw in the showing hands before, are basically B2B. Your customers, your clients are employees in those organizations, right? What does it mean? What does it mean when you're trying to get their attention, when you're trying to get them to cooperate with you? If they're not engaged, who will be the ones that will actually be working with you? Who will be the ones that will pay attention when you're sending them information? So that's make a huge difference when we are looking on the needs today. Now there is the millennials that are joining to the workforce. They are not joining, they didn't start yesterday, but the number is growing if you look on, year after year of workforce expectation. And the people that grew up as the millennial and joining the workforce, kind of right after college in most cases, they already grew up completely engaged in game environment. This was their environment much more than we used to. You just can see that in the ways that they communicate. You can see that in the way that they are expecting to receive information. And think about every aspect of your life outside of the workforce for a minute. You get information instantly. You want to know what is your bank balance before? Who remember that? You needed to go to the bank and look for the statement or wait for a month to get the statement. Who remember that? You are going, you're clicking, and you see that immediately. You have kids at school, you went it for the report card, forget about it. You go, and everyone that live in Charlotte at least have a power school, what it's called, and I'm sure everywhere else they have the different name. They go, they see, they don't need even the kids to come home before they already know what's going to happen. So we really, really know what's going to happen. But think about us as part of the workforce. Do you know? Do you know how you perform versus your colleague? You don't. You may be lucky to get the information once in a year in evaluation discussions that somebody will tell you that you actually met your goal or did not exceed them or whatever it is, but you don't get it. You don't get it constantly. This is an environment that creates a dissonance between what you are expected to get as a consumer to what's actually going on in the work. And people don't like this. People would like to be on top of things because this is what they got to used to. So when you're going to the workforce, you want to know immediately what's going on. And I know Dave mentioned statistics and said IT people and, especially in software, people like to get statistics, but I think marketing too. Without statistics, without information, you are kind of blind to what's going on. And this is very important to us as well as employees. And again, everyone that do business with organization, it's the same thing going on there. Whatever happened in your organization exactly happened there. This is the same thinking. You need to approach to them, you need to give them and engage them at the same levels that they would like to be engaged. So I'm having many, many different companies approaching us. And it's I'm saying approaching us, talking about marketing. We are definitely, not huge as, many other companies in the world, Microsoft, Yahoo, PayPal, and I can throw here many, many other names. And they're our clients. And you know what's surprising? They find us. It's unbelievable. To everyone that was doing marketing, think about that. They found us because they have the need, and we were out there and they heard about us. And they have the needs because whatever I'm talking right now about is really industry agnostic. It's going back to us as individual, and it's regardless of where we are coming from, what industry we are serving, what position we have in the organization, who is our client? Is it internal client or somebody from the outside of the organization? Is it B2B or B2C? Regardless, when we are communicating, we want to know, we want to get the feedback and want to do that quickly. So the way that we look on that is we are taking the game thinking and the techniques and we apply them to achieve a business goal. That's the whole secret about gamification. We build platforms that allow us to take those mindsets, but our goal is to achieve a business outcome. It's not about people playing and enjoying the game, and at the end of the game, they actually remember that they have something to do with work today, they actually came. It's not about people running, and shooting bubbles and whatever they are doing. It's not about that. It's about the thought process that you have when you are playing a game. And when what we are doing is saying to people, if you will take the action that we as an organization want you to take, You're a winner. Congratulations. You did a good job. We give them constant feedback. We tell them how great they have done. What they have did was what we want them to do. So it starts with few elements. Now, obviously, in every decision that we are making that is not emotional decision and with friends, but as an employee in the organization, as a consumer that is about to buy something, there is a financial element, okay? Nobody will take that away. This is a financial decision in most cases, but it's not enough because there are options out there and people need to make a decision. And if you are an employee in the organization, you ask yourself, why should I stay here? I mean, I probably can get the same salary somewhere else, but I'm still coming here in the morning. And why I'm coming here in the morning. And research, as I said, there is plenty of them, and I didn't want to even to start kind of mentioning them, because if you will just Google, you'll find. But there are two major motivational factors that drive behavior. And the one is recognition, and the other is competition. And competition, not necessarily in the sense that I did much better than, John, but I did much better than maybe what I did before. Everyone, think about yourself. Everything that I'm saying, put yourself in that position. You look back. Do you want to make sure that you see an improvement? You want to come out of this room today thinking, I learned something. I am better than I was before I went into this room. This is everything that we do. And to me, competition, it's not in the narrow sense of, okay, I'm much, much better than somebody else. But I'm also much better than what I did before in what I'm doing today. The other thing is mastery. We all have skills. We all want to make those skills the best we can. Through games, through repetition, fun repetition, abilities to use different tools that will help us learning, we can get ourselves into a better level of mastery of the skills. Game environment gives you a very clear call to action. If you have 2 jars, one full of cookies, one with 1 cookies, which one you will choose? Anyone? It's only me on diet here? What's going on? Okay, so you will choose the one with full of cookies. I'm telling you right now, I'm sure about that, even if you probably wouldn't say that. That's the same thing in the game. Think about simple game. If I will give you for one action 100 points, for the other one, I'll give you 500 points. What action you will choose? And I want to know that one person will choose the 100 point here. So this is it. This is the thing that you don't think about, but you are trained in your mind, in your nature, to go to the more. You want to win, period. If this will give you 500 points and this will give you only 100 points, it's clear call to action from your perspective. Now put yourself in a minute in the position of somebody that delivered the message. Is it the organization or for you to sell it to someone? If you go tell someone that for this action you would like them to choose, you give them 500 points, they will go to that. Now tomorrow morning you change your mind, you already achieved this. So now you're shifting. You don't need to call everyone and tell them, in organization, hey, hands-on meeting, brown bag, everyone come over here. Listen, our company now wants really, more new logos. This is what's important to us. More new logos. Forget about renewal. Don't care about that right now. That's what we need. People listen, but they don't embrace it. You give them and say, hey, salespeople, if you would like to sell, you go ahead, do your job. But I'm just telling you, there is a bonus here. If you're doing that, you will get 500 points. If you will bring your renewal, you get 100 points. Psst, everyone is running to the direction you want. You didn't even need to tell them that this is your direction. You just change it. You just give them the option. People love options. That's something that I'm sure each and one of you know. People love options. You give them an option. The control in their hands. But they're going to achieve the targets that you want them to achieve versus, randomly trying to do something. Any questions? Really? No one? Okay. One of the important things is that intrinsic motivation is much, much stronger than the extrinsic one. People are much more satisfied where they are doing that because they want to do that, because it fulfills something for them. The secret is to find it. And when you're playing game, and you're putting this thing in front of you in your mindset, this is what you are going to help people achieve. And it doesn't mean that other motivations are not good enough, but they are not lasting as the internal motivation. Now, what we are doing is really trying to create a habit through the game. If the habit is for your consumer to go back to consume what you are having for them to buy, is it us as employees? If it's us that are in our private life, how many of you have the Fitbit? How many of you heard about the Fitbit? Great. This is a phenomenal example of gamification. What Fitbit is doing, this bracelet that people have and constantly gives them feedback on, you put a goal. I want to walk 10,000 steps today. I want to do this at the gym. I want to make sure I am doing something. It's a constant reminder. It sends us the message. It tells us in the leaderboard how we are doing, how our friends are doing, what's going on with our support group here. This is how you change habit. This is how you create a new one. And this is what gamification is all about, helping you enforce and create habits. Now, one thing happens with habits, you need constant reminder. You cannot just do that once. So when you're putting a game in place and you're creating action, those action is what you're going actually to use and repeat and create it in a fun and engaging way until it's become something people would like to do because this is what they feel is their internal motivation. I put here a quote from Yahoo, from the VP of Customer Experience in Yahoo. And he said, to him, it's about the line of sight. To him, it's about creating the connection between whatever he wants to achieve as individual and what the corporate objectives are. Or if you're looking from your perspective, selling somebody, marketing to someone, you want to create a line of sight. How you do that? Gamification is a very, very good answer for that. How it's working, how gamification is working. So basically, you start with setting up a goals. In every plan that you do, you start with that, okay? Then you define your KPIs. You define what is the measurement that you would like to achieve and improve by putting this game in place. And then what you're doing is you're trying to fit it to the players. And we have different games that help us communicate with the players, and it's about what we would like to achieve. So I'll give you an example. If we would like to achieve something that is building a community together, or we would like to achieve something that is learning, we may start with a completely green field, okay? It's just a green field. And as we progress in the game, because we completed training module, we learned something, because maybe we purchased the first phase of a program, the city starts being built. There is, a little building here, a playground there. You see, there is a sense of accomplishment. You're doing something. You start with something completely green, and you start building your own community. And we are talking about different examples, for example, for people in sales. We are putting them in the driver's seat. Now, Meg, for example, is no longer just, an employee, a salesperson, an agent in the call center. She is now a car race driver, and she has gauges and KPIs, and she needs to get them. She needs to get them to the green because she wants to participate in the weekly race, and how she can do that if she's in the pit stop and all her gauges are now red. Everyone will see that Meg is not going to be in the weekly race. She cannot do that. She needs to get her gauges up to the green. That's what you're doing when you're looking on fitting that to the player. And it's not necessarily the individual, it's a concept that you would like to create. What is the message that you would like them to see? And based on that, you're finding the right games that will fit the needs that you're trying to sell. So let's say that it's your corporate office. And instead of building the city, we start building your corporate office, the complex. Or maybe you are selling a product, and they are kind of little by little start building, that specific product. Your Samsung with my new Edge phone, okay? We will build it together. That will be a community event on how we're building it together. And people are using it. People using games across the globe. For example, large companies that using that for sustainability community. Very important for them to create their ecosystem, not necessarily their company's employees, but the ecosystem to be engaged in sustainability. It's important to their image. So they created a group that kind of across the globe, few hundred people, that they are in different jobs, different positions, different companies, but they are connected together through the sustainability. They are, each and one of them represent their company, and they are communicating. They are sharing ideas. They are bringing new approaches on how to do things. They are sharing success stories. And what happened to that companies that put that game in place in the center? They are becoming, the center of sustainability in terms of their consumer mindset. Now they see them as a company that care about sustainability. And I'm not mentioning name because I can tell you that you will not think about them first thing about sustainability. You probably will think about their facility in the Far East, because that's what much more in the news. This is why they took this approach. This is why they're creating this community. They want to get people to be engaged with them in a manner that is completely different. So that's kind of a few examples about that. When we design the game, we think about the interactions that we would like to have with the people, what we want them to do. Some companies saying, I want everyone to get there every day. Okay, you have a reason. They want to do that. I have companies, global companies, that, basically are not connected with people who represent them. Might be dealership, it might be agent, but they are working through third parties. How you communicate with them, how you get them to represent your brand in the right way, through a game. So they have the communication channel done through the gaming. So people get rewards when they're opening and learn about the new product or the new message, and they have the question and answers. And we have a role play simulation. So they are kind of having this, not just reading a document. Think about an email you're sending out, trying to get people attention. So I'm sure you guys using a lot of tools to track how many opening were into this email, right? I'm sure everyone is doing that, and if you don't, you probably should. But is that telling you anything? Is that telling you that somebody actually read what you put there? Sometimes I'm doing the same. I'm looking, there is a title, seems to me important. I'm looking, I recognize that this is basically for me not the most important email in the day, and that's it. So if I even read what you have there. But if you will put in this email, and I can show you guys later on examples, you will put there a short video and maybe question and answer document, and then a trivia quiz, game show, thumbs up, thumb down for everyone that actually answers 3 questions right. And you can give them even a little reward after that. Send them to your website, clear call to action. But people are engaging, and you know that they are engaged, and you can see if they got, 10% out of what you actually send them, or maybe they got more than 50, phenomenal. That's what you want, right? This is becoming two-way communication, but not because you ask them in a survey, excuse me, what do you think? Do you mind taking 5 minutes of your time? No, I don't. I really don't want to take 5 minutes of my time to answer a question. But it's a game. It's a short one. Or it's a role-play simulation. Help me understanding better how to represent the organizations that sells that to me. And I don't know about you, but when people raise their hand, there were most of the company were less than 100 employees. But I'm quite sure that in order to sell and market, you are using many different channels. How do you know that they represent you right? But if you will give them role-play simulation, I'm calling to cancel my service, what should be the best answer? I'm calling to renew, what are my options? And it's fun and it's engaging. People will respond. And you will know how much they are trained and knows about what you guys are giving them. And one of the most important things, I believe, in terms of gamification, because we are dealing with human behavior, is to make sure that we are creating what we call the immunization period. human behavior is not stand still. If I am pushing us with the 500 points to bring new logos versus renewal, well, people will respond and sell more, bring more new logos, but it's not good enough. I need to make sure that I'm balancing. There is a lot of balance between productivity and efficiency. If you have people telemarketing, and you need to know how much they do, there is the first call resolution in one hand, and the other hand, average handling time. What is more important? Both important. You need to balance. So there is, in the platform, analytic models that give you the visibility and the eyes to how people react to your behavior, to behavior you actually put them, and then you're able to fine-tune it constantly, because whatever you said before probably won't be true tomorrow. And you want to make sure you're creating a cycle that are helping people to adjust to the new business objectives that you put in place. If there is one person in this room that their company goals is exactly as they were last year, please raise your hand. It's not. Nothing stays still because the market is not that. So you need to know what's going on and stay on top of that and have the ability to make those changes. And this is what changed in the gamification world from before to today. I'm going to show you kind of an example. I really have much better, but in terms of real life, but I don't know how much time we will have. But this is a screen that people see as the gamification screen. It's really not necessarily focusing on their performance. This is different. This is focusing on their car race. So we have here Brian, and he's a car race, and he actually wants to participate in the race. Yes, and he also can see how he's doing in different performance that he has. And he have the ability to have knowledge management contribution. This is one of the things that gamification do very well. You know how these situations that you have, people have phenomenal knowledge, but they will never share? Because if they will share, everyone will kind of do the same. And what about their job security? What about their, they don't want to be these ones that kind of put all the cards on the table. We reversed it with gamification because that's one of the behaviors that most company wants to change. So what we do, let's say that, you have phenomenal idea and you are willing to share, thank you. So we will take this and we'll give you points because you shared, okay? And then you make a decision to actually not reinvent the wheel, but use this great idea. So you will get points because you decided to reuse and contribute to an idea that already was there. But you will continue to get those points just because you were the first one to create that. So you can continue on harvesting on whatever you put out there. And this way, you're becoming an expert. And this is how people will change behavior. If you're an expert and nobody knows about that, you are not an expert anymore. You want to be an expert, you need to be putting that out there. You need to share, but we will reward you for sharing. And that's a very important word, rewarding. So we have clear call to action. Micro-learning tool, as I mentioned, people do not really focus today on very long content. We all know the research that, we are kind of now close to a goldfish, a span of attention. If you read those research, this is where we are. Congratulations to all of us, but that's the reality. And the question is, how can we do? What we can do here in order to make it much, much better and faster and engaging to people that expect to receive knowledge in a very little pieces. So role-play simulation, trivia game, fun quizzes, make a puzzle, whatever it is, you have a lot of option. We have narratives, and I gave some example before, car race driver, building a city, explore the world, soccer, whatever it is that you feel that is the relevant for the organization can work. But the surprising thing, and I must tell you, we are having the games being played, around the world, from Asia to the US to Europe. And people are, in the beginning, when we kind of started that, people were like, oh my God, the team in Europe cannot play the same thing that the team in the US, really, no way. Team in Asia, completely different. And we have like two layers, kind of the business rules and then the narratives, the kind of the car race, the city. But the reality is that it doesn't make a difference. The reality is that what makes a difference is that we all playing together something that take us a little bit from the box that we are here. We are not anymore the consumer. We are not anymore the employee. We're different. We're doing something different. And it's much easier to get feedback this way. Think about yourself for a minute playing a card game with me, and we are sitting here, and we all think that, Ace has the highest value. Okay, we're playing that, all enjoying it. Then, Adam came and said, guys, what are you doing? Don't you know? This is not the rules anymore. Now we need to change. So we change, right? We will now know that better to get rid of this as soon as we can. But it's fair. We all heard it. It's kind of a fair game. And we don't take it personally. It's just the rule change. But what happens when you have a change? When you change the packaging of your product? When you are changing the rules in the organization, when you have an organizational change. People are like, first thing that, excuse me, why? Why we need to do that? They have a lot to say, and before it was much better. Don't you remember that the blue package was much better than the green one? Why? Nobody can explain. It's just human nature. So let's use the other thing that we have as human nature, the enjoyment of games, to send messages of change. It's much helpful this way than the other way. Now, another point to just make sure that I'm mentioning that, games can be played everywhere, and we should adhere to that. We are all using our phones, and I'm sure everyone here has this smartphone in their room, and they use it to consume and to do a lot of things. This is where the game also should be. Is it for the workplace or for the marketing, whatever we are doing. And one more aspect of this thing about the leaderboard. And there is a lot of emphasis for us in the leaderboard that is different in gamification than it's in the games world. I'll just give you one example. You know how you play a game, and let's talk about video game or anything on the phone, electronic, and you scroll down to find your name out there in the leaderboard? Anyone has this experience? Okay, this is not fun. This is not engaging. When we are talking about our employees or our consumer, this is not the experience we want them to have. So for example, what we do in the leaderboard, regardless of where they will be, they can be the really last one. They will see themselves on the first page. Magic. They just, log in, they look, they are there, they are in the first page. And you know what? If they scroll down and up and want to see something else, we have this navigation button. All they need to do is click, and whoops, they're the center of the world again, because each and one of them is the hero. That's how we looked at them, right? They're heroes. So this is what we need to give them the same feeling. So this is, again, another example when gamification is different from games. We are here to achieve a business goal. We are not for them to say, oh, I don't like to play this. So we need to find those ways. There are many different tricks and mechanisms in the gamification world that we are using to make sure people are engaged. I'll give you another example. For, let's say, this feeling when you are waking up in the morning and you are setting your mind to do something, right? You are saying, let's go with the physical fitness again. Really, I will walk today 10,000 steps. Not sure, but maybe I will do that. But here I am committing to myself, maybe to the world, I am going to do that. Now, what we are doing for them, we are giving them, let's say that we are talking about a weekly competition. We give them 2 opportunities. We said, you can choose to say which day will be a green day. You're actually going to meet all the goals we put for you, okay? And we give them this opportunity. But you can't do that every day. But if you will be right, you will get a bonus point. You will get a recognition. And people are happy because now they are focusing. They set their mind. They want to do that. They will try. And that's what all you want them. You want them to try. You want them to be engaged. And just kind of some examples for different games to help you kind of visualize that. So the game is fitting whatever is the organization wants it to be. And I have kind of different examples, from the soccer that is kind of 2 teams competing. to the baseball where we're actually balancing between different KPIs. So the game is that there is a coach, and the coach choosing their team. The teams are different KPIs, and a good team will be a team that is balanced. So the pitcher and the catcher and everyone else needs to have a position that they are good at, and if you don't balance them, you're not going to be winner. And we are matching them against the most improved teams and so on. So there is a lot going on. There is an example on the city. There is an example about an event, for example, where you're trying to engage people and have them rate different things, right? In terms of like The Voice or Gamification Idol, whatever it is. So we have different rating mechanism. The golf game is a phenomenal, it's a tool. You have to be successful in completing different activities. If you do them at the time you tell you to do, you get the green flag. If you're going a little bit over, now you are going to not maximize your points. So we motivate them to start ahead of time and still giving them time to complete stuff. And this example, which looks very boring, the reason I put there, because it's very boring to most people, was very successful in one of the telcos that used the game. Why? Because it fits what they need. Okay? So to everyone else, it may not be the right thing, but for them, that was the right thing. One of the things that I would like to mention about gamification, and it's true to every aspect of gamification, you want to get the game to be a hub to everything that's going on in the organization. And every organization today has tons of systems, right? They have many different pieces of information coming from, excuse me, from different systems. What we want to do is make it actionable. We want to make it action in the game. We want a progression in the game to be whatever people were supposed to do in their work or as a consumer. So if I'm a consumer and I completed my profile registration for your product, great. If I use your coupon to buy something, fantastic. If I actually upgraded on time, you know, Microsoft sending all of us emails that you can upgrade for free to Windows 10. Great, think about that gamified. Think about not only that you upgrade to Windows 10, but you're going to win something in addition, because this is actually a free gift, right? Upgrade for free to Windows 10 before they charge us money. But you need to put it in a context that help people realize that they got a game, they got a gift right now. Just telling them it's not enough. So there is many things. So if you are a salesperson and you're using CRM system, those action in CRM are being put into the system immediately, and people are rewarded on that. Now think about an example. Many people here are using CRM, I'm sure about that. Think about the example where you are actually trying to get people to report to CRM. Anyone tried that before? Get people to report to the CRM system about activities they have done? So good luck if you're going to try, because people do not like to report to the system what they have done. And here we change it. We are going to change it through the game. You are going to get rewards because you reported in the system. Great job. You did not report. Everyone see you're in the bottom of the leaderboard. You want to be there? No, you don't. So there are many ways to push people to act as we wanted to act. Recognition and communication are very important aspects of gamification. We pay a lot of attention to it. Recognition not necessarily needs to be a gift card or monetary value. Sometimes even to invite your consumers and your customers to a meeting with the CEO, to give them the feeling that they are heard, that they are important, is great. But you need to think about the mechanism that you would like to reward the people that participate in the game and communicate. And we have phenomenal different ways to communicate inside of the game and outside via emails that are so beautiful and call to action to get into the game. And kind of that's it in terms of my part of the presentation. But if anyone has any more questions I'd like to ask, I'm happy. I think we have a minute here.
I just got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is all falling under that neuromarketing, which is kind of a new field. And I wondered about, it influences behavior, but when you're looking at the segment, I know there's been a matrix that you have like the amateurs, the expert, the habitual, and the addict. So when you're designing this, do you go out and test it in the market for each of those potential customers? Because, you know, if you've got people that are so addicted to making sure that they get the point for this behavior, because I do know how the gaming, I did Warcraft, I'm admitting it now, but I had to take it off my phone. I'm an older demographic, but what type of science behind this do you use in developing your programs for companies?
So thanks, it's a great question. So we are based on many different research that we have done, and what we are doing with individual companies, you know, that are coming to use in the platform, we have methodologies that we develop that we do a discovery phase. We're trying to understand what is that motivates the players of the game, what reward and recognition existing today, how many action we actually want them to take, what is more important than the others, what's the tool of communication that exist today, what's the level of involvement we want them, and then we are coming with, you know, the best method to implement that. But the other important part of it is what I said before, is the analytic. And we allow with the analytic to see how we actually respond, how people actually respond. And that's a major part of that, because people will not respond necessarily the way that people that smart as can be thought about that. So we would like to see how they respond. We check that constantly, and the game is built in a way that giving you ability to change the pace of the game and control it, so you can make change easily and allow, you know, like in the beginning, you will reward on baby steps. You just achieve this and this, you know. You complete your profile, you first time logged in a meeting, you did, then you will reward on consistency. You know, 3 times in a row, every month, every week, whatever it is, we will kind of go in consistency. Later on, we will go with the most achieved, 10% improvement, whatever it is that is relevant. But you have the ability to control this pace, and that's, I think, what will help. That's, I think, the difference between what we have before to what we have now, is the tool to create something consistent with the ability to adjust to what's going on in the market. Yeah, Adam, you will stop us when needed, okay? Sorry?
I think maybe one more question.
Okay.
I've done some research on personas for my business, and I think I've got 2 primarily: older owners of small businesses and younger millennials. Is their reaction and their engagement with this sort of approach different for these different personas? I don't picture older people, business owners, taking the time to go through and have that fun experience. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't have an experience with, you know, the specific segments that you mentioned, but I do have experience with different ages responding to the games that we put in place. And I would say that the beginning, actually, of this field was focusing on the millennials. Okay, that was like the thought process. But the reality is the workforce is including many ages, right? And basically all ages right now, that, you know, every game that we have played by all ages. And I didn't find a huge difference at all. I think it's about, especially in a working environment, it's not about, you know, playing the game in this manner. It's not about the hand, eye, and that type of recognition. It's about doing your job right. It's about taking the actions that is relevant to you and do them right, but using the thinking of the game, putting the leaderboard. Everyone in every age would like to see that they are better than the average and work hard to get themselves to that position. If they are not actually seeing names on the leaderboard, if you don't really know who's the other people you're playing with. People react to that regardless of anything else. What is the difference is sometimes using the technology, right? So, you know, as not everyone is equipped with technology as the people in the millennials that grew up with basically a computer and an iPad in their hand. But if you are in the workforce or you are in the business and you're using the technology, it's becoming a non-issue from your perspective. And then what is an issue is the component of the game, is the ability to get a positive feedback, to get a recognition, to see that when you are doing something, it was the right action to take. That's what play a big role. I hope it's helped. Great, thanks everyone, appreciate the time.